بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين وبعد. We'll continue inshallah with the stories of the Quran, and one more story that proves the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His creation and brings in evidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who resurrect after death, and the lesson behind this story inshallah. قال الله عز وجل أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها, or like the one who passed by a town that it was ruined up to its roofs. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam with An-Numrud that we mentioned yesterday, the debate, He said أو كالذي مر على قرية, or like a person. Yani He's giving the same example or an ongoing example of a debate that we mentioned yesterday on a proof that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has the control over life and death. And this is obvious. Even the disbelievers of Mecca believe that. إن سألتهم من خلقهم ليقولون الله. If you ask them who created you, they say Allah. Problem here is not to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who causes life and causes death. It's to act upon it. Yani if we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who brings about life, what should we do? If we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who causes death, what should we do? That's the thing. Okay, it's not just knowing. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala huwa al-Khaliq, Allah huwa al-Muhyi, Allah huwa al-Mumit. Can we check if this mic is on? If not, then we need to unplug this because they're conflicting with the mic. No? Off. Then these two has to be off too. Yes. You push from the bottom and you pull. Okay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال الله عز وجل تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. This is the point here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us in this life by bringing a soul to this dunya for a test. Okay? To act upon goodness and to forbid evil. ماشي. طيب والموت, death. Death is a conflict that most of the nations had, that how are we going to be resurrected? And the fear of resurrection is the fear of the return to Allah. The fear of punishment, questioning, the fear of being responsible for what you did in this life. And that's why Aisha radiallahu anha she was scared from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, قال نعم, beginning of the hadith. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن المؤمن إذا بشر بلقاء الله أحب لقاء الله وأحب الله لقاء وإن الكافر إذا بشر بلقاء الله كره لقاء الله فكره الله لقاء. قالت عائشة يا رسول الله كلنا يكره الموت. She said, Rasulullah said, if a person is giving the glad tidings, a believer, that he is returning to Allah, then he gets the pleasure and the happiness that he will be returning to Allah. And a disbeliever would dislike to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah dislike his return. So Aisha said, we all dislike death. This is a reality. Nobody likes to talk about it. Okay, طبعا it's not a sunnah to talk. It's not a sunnah to talk about death, especially if you visit a person who's sick. But it's a sunnah to constantly remember death in your mind. قال أكثروا من ذكري هذم اللذات. You should always remember. He called it هاذم اللذات. هاذم اللذات بالذال, يعني the destroyer of pleasure. Death is the destroyer of all pleasures. You'll be with your kids in your house. You have money, you're checking your bank account, you have a car parked outside, or 2 or 3 or 4. MashaAllah, your children are playing around you, and a person is having all this fun, all this pleasure, and the angel of death comes down and says, over. He's not going to say, let him enjoy, man. Come on, man, he just got it. La. The same wedding night. that a woman is dressed in white, nice clothes and best dress, and her husband is in a suit, one of them dies. The angel of death doesn't care. خلاص إذا جاء أجلهم لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون. When time comes, it's over. So Rasulullah said, constantly remember what? Death. Why? Because it keeps your focus on the way. You know that you're returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know one day, if a person keeps death in front of him as a vision, it will prevent him from every evil, or at least it will bring him back to Allah if he fall into evil. And that's why Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, we all dislike death. As a sunnah, they say, as I said, you don't mention death when you visit someone who's sick. That's a sunnah. Okay? I had a person, he was very severe sick with liver disease. This person came to visit him. He sat next to him by the bed. He said, what's wrong? So the doctor said, we have liver disease. He said, La ilaha illallah. My uncle died with a liver disease. So the brother was like, okay, inshallah khair. He's like, but my aunt too after him, she also had the same liver disease. So the brother who's sick, he's like, Jazakallah khair, good enough. He's like, my grandfather also died with a liver disease. Can you leave now? And everybody died with the liver disease. Very, very hard, but it's a reminder for those who are alive. You witness death with your own eyes. It should be a warning for every believing men and women. And that's why this story came in. قال الله عز وجل أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عرشها. الراجح أنه عزير. Uzair, the ulama mentioned, was he a righteous person or was he a prophet? And mostly he is a prophet. Okay? So Uzair, he said, when he passed by a town that was ruined up to its roof, yani this town, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused destruction to it, that it was khawiyah. It became very empty of all people because of the changes that Allah caused to them. Okay? على عروشها, even up to its roofs. يعني the houses are empty, the streets are empty, the villages are empty, nothing is in it. قال, he said, أن يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها. How will Allah ever bring it back to life after its death? He's not questioning. There is a difference between questioning to complain, to contradict, and a question to clarify. Okay? And the different, even the Quran mentioned that. Okay? The Quran mentioned as clarification. There's sometimes question to bring more information. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. He's not questioning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال وإذ قال إبراهيم رب أرني كيف تحيي الموتى قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى. Ibrahim said, oh Allah, show me how you resurrect death. That's not questioning to complain. This is a question to clarify, to see a witness. So he's asking, he said, SubhanAllah, how is this going to come back to life? A whole village, a whole town, everything is destroyed. The people who are living here, and this is the example for us. And that's why from among the sunnah is to visit the graves. Because you will see the reality of this life that we're living in. You go visit someone that you know, okay? A person that you know he had hopes. Or someone that you knew that he was causing problems to somebody. Or someone who was, a king. And question him, what happened? Where did you go? You left everything behind? None of this kingdom that you had was able to protect you? He's questioning, like, how these people, what happened to them? Where did they go? لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ. That's why Rasulullah said, if you pass by the villages that had torture or punishment, pass by very quickly, but take a lesson from them. There's specific areas right now, Qawm Ad, Qawm Salih, and these places still exist. When you pass by them, nowadays, mashallah, people are taking cameras, it became a tourist area. When we went to Umrah, the brothers was like, why we don't visit this place? I told him, what to visit? This is a place of a punishment. Allah destroyed this nation. What are you going to go and take pictures, take selfie with them? When you pass by them, Rasulullah said, rush. He said, run when you pass by them, but take in the lesson that these people had the power you have, the money, the wealth you have, and maybe more. Someone like Qarun had kingdom that none of us today have. Mafatihu, the keys of his locks, where he kept his money. The keys needed 7 to 10 people to carry the key to open the lock. So what's inside the lock? If the key needs 7 people to carry it, what could be inside those locks? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have taken him back to him and leave everything. He said, no, him and his money. أصلا كل الملك هذا, every kingdom that they have, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing. لو كانت الدنيا, if this life تساوي عند الله جناح بعوضة, جناح مش جناحان, جناح. He said if this dunya is equal to a wing of a mosquito, not 2 wings, 1 wing. This whole dunya that we live in today, in the sight of Allah, is less than a wing of a mosquito. ما سقى منها كافرا شربة ماء. If this dunya is worth anything to Allah, He wouldn't have given a sip of water to a disbeliever to drink from. But it's not. مثل الدنيا في الآخرة كمثل إيش؟ Look at Rasulullah's example. This is the living. He said مثل الدنيا في الآخرة. You want to look at this dunya and compare it to akhirah? There is no comparison better than the Prophet ﷺ described. He said like a person sitting under a shade, and then he would leave. Who would leave? Huh? Both. Either one of the two. If you say, well, Alhamdulillah, I finally found the shade. Khalas, sit down. How long are you going to sit? 2 hours, 3 hours? Okay, I'm not leaving here. The shade is going to say, I'm leaving. Rasulullah said, he will leave, meaning one of them, yani regardless. So in this dunya, how long are you going to live? You'll leave. What is the other example? قال صلى الله عليه وسلم مثل الدنيا في الآخرة. The example of dunya in akhirah, كما يضع أحدكم أصبعه في اليم ثم يخرجها فلينظر بما ترجع إليه. Wallahi, that hadith is so scary for people who are fighting for dunya. He said, compare this life that we're in to the hereafter is like someone going to an ocean and they dip their finger into the ocean. Then they take their finger out. How much water is left on your finger? Compare to the water in the ocean. What's the comparison? Huh? Nothing. Even if you take some in your hand, he said this is dunya compared to akhirah. He said like the drops that stays on your finger in akhirah. And that's why people who are fighting for dunya or competing in dunya are wasting their time. They're seriously wasting their time. If your goal is not akhirah and the hereafter, everything that you do in this dunya is like a ship that you're taking to pass to the other side. That's what you're doing. Okay, should we not work? Nope, nobody says that. Should we not gain money? Nope, nobody says that. نعم المال الصالح للعبد الصالح. A righteous person with a righteous money is better than a poor person because he could offer more and give more. But the problem is when dunya attracts your heart and covers it up, that's the problem. By the way, there is a misconception about Sahaba. Okay? The misconception says أن أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كانوا فقراء وماتوا فقراء. That's not true. The companions, they lived poor and they died poor. That's not true. خلاص? Some of them did, yeah. But if you look at the life of the companions, they were very rich. Most of them, they were very rich. Like in the idea of just being poor, like in the dunya was never in their heart. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when he gave Rasulullah sallam all his money 3 times in his life, that we know of in the hadith, 3 times, صح? The first time when he did what? Migration. Second time, first fundraising. Third time, before Tabuk. 3 times. He gave all his money, and I just want to clear that for you. All his money means that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq took his phone, and I always say that, took his phone out, okay? I know some people are looking at me very weird right now. You get what I'm saying. Okay, he checked his bank account, he logged in, He found $1 million in there. So he did what? Zail to Rasulullah. Seriously. That's the meaning of all his money. He didn't say, I have 10,000. How much should I give from 10,000? One, too much. 500, la, la, 2,000. لا والله. He sent it all. فماذا أبقيت لهم يا أبا بكر؟ قال الله ورسوله. It was very simple. Now Abu Bakr as-Siddiq died as what? What's his position when he died? Khalifa of the Muslims. Yani that the highest authority in Islamic state, that means everything that exists in a Muslim country at that time was under who? His control. So he didn't die poor. He chose what he chose. He didn't die poor. And Allah blessed him. Why? Because to them, dunya was nothing. Okay? They worked hard in dunya. They gained money. MashaAllah, some of them were businessmen, traders. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was a millionaire, multi-millionaire. I don't think any of us today has the money he had compared to our time. Like whenever the call comes to him to give it, he takes it out of his hand. Boom, he throws it very quickly. Why? Because it's not here. When the dunya goes into the heart, it takes effort, time, energy, a fight to get it out. But if it's in your hand, you can just drop it, and it's very simple. That's what happened with them. رضوان الله عليهم. قال أن يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها. قال فأماته الله 100 عام. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them. He traveled with his donkey. He had a donkey. Okay, he had some dates. Some narrations said dates. Some narrations said some figs and milk. So he placed the dates into the milk. And usually when you do that and you leave it for a few hours, it becomes, let's not get into the fiqh part of it, because the Hanafis here are going to be very mad. I love the brothers who are not online, they don't know who's sitting down. So I'll show you. They're all Hanafis. That's why I'm not going to say anything. I'm joking. Abu Hanifa is on the top of... Abu Hanifa is one of the scholars I respect, even if I don't follow his madhab. As I mentioned many times before, if there's no Abu Hanifa, there's no fiqh. Just say it that way. If there's no Abu Hanifa, there's no fiqh. Every fiqh that the people learn after Abu Hanifa, قال الشافعي كل الناس عيال في الفقه على أبي حنيفة. Everybody is like a child compared when it comes to Abu Hanifa. We're like children. We try, we learn, we hear, but when we get to there, we stop. Okay, rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused him to die. He commanded him to die and his donkey for 100 years. 100 عام. 100 year is usually the change of generation, not just a change of state, city, a whole generation. And that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال على رأس كل 100 عام يبعث الله رجلا يجدد به إيمان هذه الأمة. Every 100 year, Allah will send a man among this ummah to revive, to renew, to encourage people to come back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't have to be one person, because we could have multiple people at the same time. So every 100 years. قال فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrected him. He questioned him. قال كم لبثت? How long did you remain dead? قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم. I remained dead for a day or part of the day. Why? Because he slept. Some narrations say he slept at Dhuhr, he woke up at second day at Dhuhr, or he slept at Dhuhr, he woke up at Asr. So he thought it was portion of the day. I just slept. قال بل لبثت. He said, no, you remain dead for 100 years. Look at your food, look at your drink. They remain the same, no changes. For 100 years, إن الله على كل شيء قدير. That's why he said at the end, he witnessed that. If you believe Allah على كل شيء قدير, I mentioned that before. Every miracle that happened at a time could possibly happen at a different timing as a righteous action or a deed. We call it karama. Possible to have that? Possible to have that. There are things that we don't understand as human beings. How could somebody die? Dates in milk. If you leave dates in milk for a few hours, done. You can't drink it. Okay? It turns into like a form of wine that toxates or doesn't toxate. That's a different story. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left it for 100 years. So when you're awake again, you will see everything unchangeable. قال وانظر إلى حمارك, and look at your donkey. How we bring it back to life, because his donkey was dead. So Allah said, you haven't seen yourself coming back awake from death. You saw yourself coming back awake from sleep. That's what you thought. Now I'm going to resurrect your donkey. That 100 years, most likely the donkey turned into what? Ashes. Khalas, even the bones. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it back to life in front of him so he could see. تمام. ولنجعلك آية للناس, that we have made you as a sign for people. وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما. Look at how we bring the bones back together, and then we cover it, meaning the bones, we bring it back together, and then we cover it with meat, and we bring it into life, a meaningful life. فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. When he saw that, he said Allah is able to do all things. He took his money, his donkey, and he found an old woman who was 120 years old, sitting down in front of his house where he left. So he came to her. She was a servant of his. When he left her, she was how old? 20 years old. So he say, Aina Uzair? Where is Uzair? She said, oh, he got lost long time ago, almost over 100 years. No one knows where he went. He is possibly dead by now. So he kept telling her, I am Uzair. She said, well, because I'm old, you're going to make fun of me now? You're joking? He said, no, it's me. So when his son came out, and his son said, who are you? He said, I am your father. He said, okay, that's another joke. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to keep him as a lesson, which is different from the story of the people of the cave. Because the people of the cave, their lesson was for the general. And things have changed. For Uzair, they still needed the lesson. And that's the benefit of the Quran. Look at, they died or they slept for how long? 300? 300 years. تمام؟ ها؟ 300. قال الله عز وجل ولبثوا في كهفهم 300 سنين وازدادوا 9. ليش قال وازدادوا 9؟ 9 if you count the qamari, the moon. Our month calculation will give you 309. Regular month will give you 300. ف 300 شمسية و 309 هجري أو قمري. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them. As soon as they woke up, life have changed. And the lesson was what? You escape with your deen for these people to learn. Well, these people learned, khalas. So there was no need for them to be exposed. That's why they're covered. We don't even know their number till today. We still have people who are debating on a number. But Uzair continued. Why? Because Allah wanted to show his people the sign that Allah left. So he told him, some narration said he told him, my father had a mark in his back, like a black sign, something on your back, like a dot or a mark. So let me see it. So he showed it. So they believed that it was him. 100 years? Nothing changed from him? And by the way, this story, the Quran affirmed it to witness against those same people whom when they saw Uzair, what did they say? وَقَالَتِ الْيَهُودُ عُزَيْرٌ إِبْنُ اللَّهِ. The Jews, they came out and they said what? Uzair is the son of Allah. Allah said, this is what I did this as a lesson for you to benefit, to learn. They say, no, he's Allah's son. Why Allah has taken him as a son? Because look at this miracle. Well, this miracle has a different point than what you have taken. And that's why it is very important when it comes to Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to learn the benefit. And that's why in fiqh perspective, the wisdom of the incident is more important than the incident itself. And some people would argue, when somebody traveled, what did he wear? A sandal or a shoe? That's not the point. The point of a story is the travel itself. What happened there? Not what he was dressed, red, yellow, green. It's not going to change anything. So these people, they only look at the outside part of it. When they saw Uzair coming back to life after 100 years of death, Nothing changed. His liver still the same function. Can you imagine someone's heart stopping, sleeping for 100 years? خلاص, it's over. قال عزير ibn Allah. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that this is an insult to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will say that, how could you insult me by claiming that I have a child, walam alid walam ulad? All these people, like the Christian claim Jesus, Al-Yahud, they claim Uzair, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قال الله عز وجل ما اتخذ الله صاحبة ولا ولدا. Allah has not taken a partner or a child. قل هو الله أحد. And that's why even Uzair himself, what did he say? قال أعلم. He said, now I have certain knowledge. Every one of us as a Muslim should be able to say أعلم. أعلم means that I have knowledge that leaves no doubt that this is true. Whatever the matter is, we know that Allah is the one who provides. We know that Allah is the one who resurrects. We know that Allah is the one who gives. We know that Allah is the one who takes. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives power and takes power. We know all that, but we know it. Do we believe it? If we believe in Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir, this part, that Allah is able and capable of doing anything, kulli shay. Shay here is a nakira, everything. Qadir, He has power to do it. So can Allah change our situation day and night? Kun, 2 letters, B. Even the English translation cannot be except 2 letters. Because in Arabic it's kun. Kun means be. Be here is be. So 2 letters. 2 letters, that's a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change your life, you don't need to wait for a miracle. You need to create the miracle. You yourself has to start that miracle. It's going to come. And wallahi al-azim, when it comes, it surprises you in your life. Things that you never thought. No way on earth that it could happen. Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. When they asked the person, in Senegal a few years ago, when there was a drone and it dropped in his farm, and he took it and he said, I wish that this was a plane. If you guys have seen the video, they tell him, a plane for what? He said, I'm just wishing to go to Mecca, which is impossible, like a dream that it will never come true. Well, it came true and he didn't pay a penny. Social media made him so famous. This guy, they start sending him visas, hotels, 5 stars. Even we couldn't get that 5 stars hotel. He got it. And this person in his life, he was 60 some years old. He used to see, Al-Kaaba in some TV in the coffee shop, because he doesn't have a TV in his house. When he passes by, he drops tears. Ya Allah, will I ever go to this place? How? I don't even have $1 to go. Like, even if it opens up to me, how am I gonna go? Like, my income is $500 a year. And Hajj, mashallah, royal class Hajj. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. If this is what you think, but the problem is we're hesitant to believe that. Maybe not all of us, but in our heart we're like, yes, I know Allah could do it, but how? We still have the how. When we question in our heart how, it never happens. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know that the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exceeds all power. Sahaba, brothers and sisters, to finish off, Sahaba, they changed the face of this universe in less than 23 years. In the life of Rasulullah only. If you look at the big kingdom that existed at their time, you're talking about hundreds of years. So you have some Bedouin coming out of nowhere. They're going to take over. Even Rasulullah when he used to tell them, Futihat Damascus is open. Yemen, Sana'a, we're going to go all the way to Sind and Hind. We're going to pray behind the ocean. I am sure the hypocrites were saying Muhammad is giving them a dream of all these countries to conquest, and they can't even survive food for today. But the Sahaba, they said what? وَصَدَقَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. Allah and His Prophet promised us. Who are you to judge? And Allah made it happen, not in a long time, very quickly. Also, so He could give them the glad tidings, while the same people are still alive to witness that it did happen. You claim that is not, it is happening. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in. Wallahi, live by this ayah, just this part. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Whenever happens, anything that happens to you, if you bring out in your heart that Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir, Allah will make it happen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change our situation to be better. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us and for the ummah in general to come to the level of trust and certainty in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا.